Hello everybody. Today we are going to start a poem from class 10 which is A Tiger in the Zoo. Before we start, let's have a look at some basic ideas that are related to it. Number one, when we say a tiger in the zoo, what image comes to, rather we start with a tiger. When we say a tiger, what does come to your mind? A tiger. What does come to your mind when you say a tiger?
Forest.
Okay. So when we say a tiger, the first thing that comes to our mind is wilderness. Wilderness. But when it is said a tiger in the zoo, means it is specified that it is not in its usual place. Clear? So how should it feel? How should it behave when it is in the zoo? Clear? This poem tells us about the response of the tiger to this very situation, how it feels when it is in the zoo. Clear to you? How it feels when it is in the zoo. Let us try to have a look at this, but before we start, we should have a look at the poem. Let us read the poem. This poem contrasts the tiger in the zoo with the tiger in its natural habitat. The poem moves from the zoo to the jungle and back again to the zoo. As we read, you will find. Understood? As you read, you will find how the poem shifts from the tiger and its behavior in the zoo, and then the tiger and its behavior in the forest, in its natural habitat, and then again it comes back to the behavior of the tiger in the zoo. Clear? So let us try to read the poem first. See, let's read the poem silently. The poet asks us to read the poem silently to understand it better. I told you to ask you to read silently. You read it. Okay. What is found about it? Let us read. Now I am reciting it out aloud. A tiger in the zoo. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. He should be lurking in the shadow, sliding through the long grass near the waterhole where plum deer pass. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, bearing his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. I recite again, listen to me carefully, then we will move on to description of the poem, analysis of the same. A tiger in the zoo. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the waterhole where plum deer pass. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, bearing his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. The poem is written by Leslie Norris. Let us try to analyze one by one. I mean, this is stanza by stanza. See, he stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage. What is it? He stalking means a kind of walk. We are going to describe each and every word. He stalks in his vivid stripes. You must have seen a tiger and its stripes. as you see in the picture. Okay, so the stripes, the few steps of his cage, the few steps of his cage. Now what does it mean? Because the tiger is in the zoo, inside a cage. So a cage means a restricted zone. A few steps are there, so he just stops, walks on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. On pads of we know the pads of a tiger, pads, the legs and the softer part. You must have seen a dog or a cat, its paws, the downmost part of it you find, like we have got our palms, they have got their pads. Clear? So on pads, and pads are very soft. Pads are very soft. So what is said? On pads of velvet quiet. Pads are as soft as velvet, and so they make no sound when they move. When a tiger moves, it does not make any sound like a horse makes. You understand it? So on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. In his quiet, Q-U-I-E-T. Q-U-I-E-T. Quiet, not quiet, quiet. In his quiet rage. Quiet means it's silent. Now rage, anger, rather anger. Why is the rage silent, quiet? Because he has no way out to show it. He is now encapsulated, controlled. Clear? He is now inside a cage, and so his rage is quiet. Clear? So we find some difficult words here. Let's have a look. We find stalks. Stalks means walks or follows. Clear? Then we have got stalks means walks or follows. Then we have got vivid. Vivid means bright colored. You understand bright colored? Brilliant, bright colored. Pads, paws of a tiger. Okay. And rage means anger. Rage means anger. Clear? Clear? So the very first stanza, if you look at it, you find what? It describes the movement of the tiger, or the condition or the status of the tiger when inside the cage. Clear? So what is said here, that the tiger moves up and down of his cage. Clear? Moves up and down the cage. The stripes on his body are of strong bright color. That's why vivid stripes, it is said. Clear? The stripes on his body are what? Are of a strong bright color. The tiger moves quietly on his velvety pads. He is full of rage, but it is quiet. Why? Because he knows that he is helpless here. He cannot show anything here. Clear? And it is always said, an animal, the animals of wilderness look beautiful when they are in wilderness, and the baby looks beautiful when it is in its mother's lap. Clear? So just like that, the tiger is supposed to be in the forest, because the courage, the real tiger kind of behavior can be seen when the tiger is in the forest, not when it is controlled or left helpless. Understood? The first stanza is clear to you. Let us move on to the second stanza. Where it should be. As we have seen, this poem tells us about the tiger when it is in the zoo, and the same tiger when it is in the
forest.
In the forest. When it is in wilderness, how it behaves when it is in wilderness. Using words like should and all. Using words like should. Clear? It says, the second stanza says where the tiger should be. Because you see it starts, he should be lurking in shadow. Just the way we sometimes say, you should study harder. So should, imperativeness is there. So this is the tiger is not in the forest. The tiger is in the zoo, not in its natural habitat. Clear? So it is said, he should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the water hole where plump deer pass. Clear? He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass. What is it? Sorry. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the water hole, where plump deer pass. So we find we try to get an image of it. He should be, just imagine, a tiger lurking in shadow. What is meant by lurking will be known to you, will inform to you. So he should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass. Slide, you know sliding? So when you slide, you don't stand on your legs. You just lie on your body. So sliding through long grass. You understand it, the scenario? Near the water hole, where plump deer pass. Understand? Plump deer pass. What to do? To say hi, hello to the deer? Huh? No. It has its own intention. And that is where the beauty lies. Because the power and the ferociousness of the tiger is what it is known for. Understood? Clear to you? The concept is clear? So we have got a difficult word here, lurking. Clear? To lurk means to be hidden, as to wait for your prey, P-R-E-Y, prey, you understand? Huh? So that is the thing. To be hidden as to wait for your prey. So you should be lurking in shadow for what? Sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer, you understand plump deer? The very big one, you understand? Fatty and all, big tummy deer. So where the plump deer pass. I hope the stanza is clear. Clear? Let us move on to the very next stanza. What is it? So you understand it? He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass. To do what? Near the water hole where plump deer pass. Clear? The images are there. Images will go with the lines. Just concentrate on the images, you will understand everything. Done? So what is it? So we understand it. The poetess here, actually Leslie Norris, tries to think about this, that the tiger is now in the zoo, but where it should be, So looking at the imprisoned tiger, the poetess is filled with pity. She says that the poor tiger should have been in his natural habitat. Then at this point of night, he would have been lying in the shadows of trees and sliding quietly to the long grass. There, near the water hole, he would be waiting for some fat deer to pass that way. Clear? Thus, he would be lying there in expectation of a heavy feast. Understood now? Let's move on to the next stanza. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claw terrorizing the village. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge. What it should be? Where it should be? Where should he be? He should be snarling around houses. Where? At the jungle's edge. Means houses at the edge of the jungle. He should be snarling around. Clear? Doing what? Baring his white fangs, his claws, and effectively terrorizing the village. Means the villagers. Clear? So another image. I hope it's clear. He should be doing what? Snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs and his claws. Fangs, the way a tiger does, and his claws, to do what? As a result of it, the villagers get affected, terrorized. Understood now? I hope this stanza is also clear. So these are snarling means what? Warning sounds made by animals. Baring means showing, uncovering, opening. Clear? And fangs means sharp tooth of animals. Fangs. Understood here? I hope the words are clear. Difficult words and all. Clear? But where is the tiger? So tiger first in the zoo, then in the forest, in the jungle, doing what? waiting for the plump deer as its prey, and the tiger terrorizing the villagers. He is not to be laughed at when he is inside the cave. This is not his natural habitat, and this is not his real scenario. Clear? Here the poet imagines what the tiger would be doing in case he failed to find any prey in his natural habitat. He says that the tiger would be growling at the edge of the jungle near some village. He would be showing his white fangs and claws while moving here and there. He would thus become a cause of terror for the villagers. Understood? The poetess here gives a hint that if we destroy the natural habitat of tigers, they will be forced to turn to our towns and villages to find their food and food. Understood? Okay, move on to the next stanza. But he is locked in a concrete cell. His strength behind bars, stopping the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. But the problem is what? He's locked in a concrete cell now. He's locked in a concrete cell. His strength behind bars. His strength behind bars. Understood? His strength behind bars. Bars, you understand? His strength behind bars. Stopping the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Doing what? Stopping the length. You know, the cage has a limit. So he is stopping the length of his cage, ignoring the visitors. Understood? So we have got some words like concrete wall. We understand? Concrete. We understand it. Building made of brick, cement, sand and water. Okay. So that is what is known as concrete wall. Understood? So what is said? But he is locked where? In a concrete cell. And so his strength is behind bars. So he cannot show his strength. As a result, he cannot show his strength. He is just stopping. Remember, we got the meaning of the word stopping. Stopping the length of his cage. And so since he is stopping the length of his cage, so he is powerless. His strength is behind the bars, so he cannot show power. And so whoever goes, the visitors and all, he doesn't pay any heed to them, any attention to them, because it's of no use to him. I hope it is clear. Clear to you now? And so he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stopping the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Clear? Very good. So the poet sees the tiger locked in a concrete cell in the zoo. In spite of all his strength, he now lies imprisoned behind the bars. Very slowly and silently he moves up and down along the length of the cage. He takes no note of the visitors who come to the zoo to have a look at him. Clear? This is what this stanza tells us. Okay. He hears now the tiger in the zoo at night. How he behaves. He hears the last voice at night. The patrolling cars. What is the last voice? The patrolling cars. And stares. He hears the last voice at night, and then the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Clear? Now we have got patrolling. We know what is meant by police patrolling: to guard or to vigil. Okay. So he hears the last voice at night, and the patrolling cars. So the cars which are vigilant of, you understand it? Maintaining the vigilante. So he hears it and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Now there is a comparison again. The brilliance of the stars is compared, rather the brilliance of the eyes of the tiger is compared to the brilliance of the stars. Understood now? And at the same time, the stars are unreachable, then you can say free. He imagines it. You can interpret it from different angles. Clear? So he hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares, looks constantly with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Hope it is clear. Good. The tiger knows no rest during the day because of the visitors. Even at night, there is another part of it. Clear? He knows no rest because the whole day there are visitors. Even at night, he remains disturbed due to the noise of the patrolling cars. He keeps staring at the brilliant stars with his brilliant eyes. Perhaps he is asking heaven why he is imprisoned. Understood now? hope it is clear. Clear? Clear. Let us go to the poetic devices and other sections. Have a look. See, if you go by the rhyming scheme and all, you will find he stalks in his vivid stripes. Then we have got cage, quiet, rage. So stripes does not match with quiet, but cage and rage match. So A, B, C, B. A, B, C, B. Understood? A, B, C, B. Let's see if the same pattern is followed in the second stanza. Shadow, grass, hole, pass. A, B, C, B. Third stanza. Houses, edge, floors, village. So A, B, C, B. Matching. Go to the fourth stanza. Cell, birds, cage, visitors. So cell and cage do not match, but birds and visitors match. Night, cars, eyes, stars. So cars and stars. So we can conclude that they do match. So the rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, C, B. A, B, C, B. Apart from that, do you find any other thing? Like whenever we read the lines, did you feel like images described, situations described as if images? Find them out at home. Clear? Means which stanzas describe an image, which lines describe an image kind of thing. This will make things clearer to you. Imagery, a case of imagery. Then we have got some other things also. For example, you will find, for example, there are some sound related actions are also there. Sound related examples are there. I won't tell you the name now because you are already aware of it earlier. You should read and find out. I'm talking about poetic devices used in the poem. I'm going to share a note on it later on with explanation in the book. Clear? So it is there. You will find words that stand for, like, carry different meanings, double meaning. You will also find cases of personification here. Clear? So all these things are there. You need to look at it, find them out, and later we will have a little more discussion on it. Clear? Thank you very much.